Before we made it to Osaka, we had one unforgettable stop. A park filled with over 1,000 deer that bowed before asking for food. It was one of the most unique experiences of our entire Japan trip. But first, Osaka. After checking into a hotel, there was only one place we wanted to be, and that was Dotonbori. The moment we arrived, it felt like Osaka had turned the energy up to maximum. Neon lights reflected off the canal, giant 3D signs towered overhead, and every street seemed packed with people, food, and excitement. If Tokyo felt futuristic, Dotonbori felt like its louder, more playful cousin. Of course, our first stop was the famous Glycol Running Man. No visit to Osaka feels complete without seeing it in person. And yes, we had to recreate the iconic pose. Seeing the glowing sign reflected in the river below made it easy to understand why it's one of the city's most recognizable landmarks. One of my favorite things about Dotonbori is that you really don't need a plan. The area is made for wandering. Cross a bridge, explore a side street, follow the crowd, and you'd always find something interesting. The atmosphere is especially electric after dark when the lights come alive and the entire district feels like a movie set. Just be prepared for crowds. Dotonbori is almost always busy, but that's part of the experience. If you want cleaner photos, come earlier in the day. If you want the full Osaka energy, come at night. And when hunger strikes, you're never far from your next meal. One of the best things about Osaka is how easy it is to find incredible food. Dotonbori is packed with restaurants, street food stalls, and late night eats, often at prices that feel surprisingly affordable compared to back home in the US. Sometimes, the best meals are the ones you discover while simply exploring. As exciting as Dotonbori was, we quickly learned that Osaka is much more than neon lights and street food. The next morning, we set out to explore the city's historic side. One of the first places we visited was Osaka Castle. Rising above the surrounding skyscrapers, the castle feels like a reminder of a very different Japan. Originally built more than 500 years ago by Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the man who helped unify the country, Osaka Castle remains one of the city's most important landmarks. Surrounded by massive stone walls, a wide moat, and beautiful park grounds, it's easy to see why locals take so much pride in it. We skipped the museum inside and spent our time outside enjoying the atmosphere. That decision paid off when we stumbled across the Hero Macro Show.
Everybody, action! The second trick. 3, 2, 1. Action! The third trick, we call it sushi. Everybody say sushi. I become rice, she become fish. 3, 2, 1. Everybody, action!
The performers Hero and Macro had the crowd laughing and gasping with a mix of strength, flexibility, and some seriously questionable stunts involving chopsticks. I must admit, it was surprisingly entertaining. After the show, I met up with my friend Carissa. There was one thing I had been hunting for since arriving in Japan, a watch that is only officially sold here. The problem was, I had seen it in Tokyo and decided to wait, hoping I'd find it cheaper somewhere else. Big mistake. 2 cities and 15 stores later, I still hadn't found it. When I told Carissa about my search, she immediately went into problem-solving mode. Not long after, she managed to track one down. The relief and excitement I felt when I finally had the watch in my hands was unreal. Lesson learned. When you find something special in Japan, don't assume you'll see it again. Carissa, thank you for the insight and for helping me find that watch. As the sun began to set, Osaka started showing us yet another side of its personality. One of my favorite areas in the city was Shinsekai. With its neon lights, giant signboards, and the iconic Sutenkaku Tower glowing in the distance, it felt completely different from the polished streets of Tokyo or Kyoto. The neighborhood has a gritty, retro charm that gives it a lot of character. If you're into street photography, local food, or simply people watching, Shinsekai is worth spending an evening in. We wandered the streets, grabbed a few bites to eat, and got plenty of laughs from some very enthusiastic locals enjoying their night out. As entertaining as Shinsekai was, our night wasn't over yet. We traded giant neon signs and bustling streets for something a little more intimate and atmospheric. Later, we made our way to Tenma Street, a narrow alley lined with hundreds of glowing paper lanterns. The warm light, tiny bars, and packed izakayas created one of those scenes that feels uniquely Japanese. It was chaotic, lively, and somehow still charming at the same time. And of course, no night in Japan was complete without our now traditional stop at 7-Eleven to stock up on snacks before heading back to the hotel. The next morning, we visited Namba Yasaka Shrine. Hidden among the busy streets of Osaka stands one of the most unusual shrines in Japan. The first thing you'll notice is the giant lion head looming over the grounds. Standing 12 meters tall, it looked less like a shrine and more like something straight out of a fantasy movie. According to local belief, the lion's enormous mouth swallows evil spirits and bad luck, replacing them with good fortune and success. Whether that's true or not, I figured it couldn't hurt to give it a try. Looking at my crew, they probably needed all the luck they could get. Once I had collected a little extra good luck from the giant lion head, it was time to focus on something Osaka is famous for: food. From there, we headed to Kuromon Market, often called Osaka's Kitchen. This covered market has been serving the city for more than 170 years and remains one of the best places to experience Osaka's food culture. What I loved most was that despite its popularity with tourists, it still felt like a neighborhood market. Locals were shopping for fresh fish, produce, and everyday essentials right alongside visitors sampling street food. The market is essentially one long alley packed with around 150 shops, making it easy to explore at your own pace. Seafood lovers will be in heaven here. Oysters, king crabs, grilled scallops, wagyu beef, you name it. It's probably being cooked right in front of you. My advice: show up hungry. You can sample your way through the entire market and still feel like you've only scratched the surface. Catherine even worked up the courage to try one of the baby glazed octopus. I'll let you decide whether that was bravery or questionable decision making.
It's sweet.
I'm sure the
With a bit of soy
It's
sauce.
that head it's that head that I don't know about.
It's gonna burst.
The head gonna explode. It's the head I'm not sure about. The tentacles are like that.
You want more of it?
Bite into it.
What? This is part of it. You're not a pro at this, huh? By this point, you'd think we'd eaten enough. Apparently not. There was still one item on Nate's Osaka food bucket list, and he wasn't leaving Japan without checking it off. Another food stop on our list was Happy Pancakes. Nate had been talking about trying Japan's famous fluffy pancakes for what felt like the entire trip, so eventually, I gave in and joined the line. The wait was longer than expected, and unfortunately, I ordered the wrong pancakes. I never actually got to try the fluffy version everyone raves about. The pancakes I got were good, but not life-changing. Nate, on the other hand, seemed happy with his choice. With our food adventures mostly behind us, there was one final place I wanted to see before leaving Osaka. It wasn't in the city center, and getting there would take a little effort, but I knew it would be worth the trip. Before I tell you about that place, let's go back to the beginning of our journey into Osaka. On the way from Kyoto, we made a stop in Nara. Since it was directly on our route, it felt like the perfect opportunity to visit one of Japan's most famous attractions without having to backtrack later. Nara Park is home to around 1,200 free-roaming Sika deer considered sacred messengers of the gods in Shinto tradition. They have become a symbol of the city, and honestly, seeing them up close was one of the highlights of our trip. The moment we arrived, the deer was already waiting, and trust me, They know exactly what's going on. As soon as they spot someone holding Shika Senbei, the special deer crackers sold throughout the park for about 200 yen a pack, they come running. Many of them will even bow before asking for a treat.
Well, don't run, they'll stop. They'll...
Can I get one? That's so much. Wait, stop.
There you go. Show your hand if you ain't got no more.
Now, despite their good manners, these deer are still wild animals. Most are friendly, but they can get a little impatient if they think you're holding out on them. We learned quickly that one pack of crackers disappears fast, so I'd recommend grabbing 2. Now here we have this deer that was just standing there like he had clocked into life, realized what was happening, and immediately regretted it. Completely frozen, staring into nothing like he was questioning every decision that led him here.
Already has a move. He has a move at all.
Anyways, feeding the deer was way more fun than I expected. In fact, if all you did in Nara was spend an hour feeding deer, the trip would still be worth it. Before leaving, make sure to wander through Higashimuki Shopping Street. It's packed with local cafes, great food, vintage shops, and hidden side streets that are worth exploring. It was the perfect way to wrap up our time in Nara before continuing to Osaka. Now, back to our final stop in Osaka. A few trains, a bus ride, and some rain later, we arrived at Katsuoji Temple in the hills north of the city. The moment we entered, I knew it was worth the trip. Known as the Temple of Winning Luck, Katsuoji is famous for its thousands of red Daruma dolls. Visitors come here to pray for success in everything from exams and business to health and relationships. What makes the temple so memorable is how naturally the Darumas are woven into the landscape. They're everywhere, perched on railings, tucked into corners, lining pathways, and hiding among the gardens. Some are bright red and new, while others are faded from years of exposure to the elements. Together, they create a scene unlike any other temple we visited in Japan. Out of all the temples and shrines on this trip, Katsuoji was my favorite. It felt less formal than many of the famous temples in Kyoto and more interactive. There was something fun about wandering the grounds and discovering Daruma dolls hidden in unexpected places. It felt peaceful and spiritual, but it also felt approachable. Standing among thousands of Daruma dolls scattered across the temple grounds felt like the perfect way to end our time in Osaka. From historic castles and neon-lit streets to incredible food, hidden temples, and even a park filled with bowing deer, this region of Japan gave us experiences we'll never forget. And as our train pulled away, I couldn't help but think that if Tokyo is the face of modern Japan and Kyoto is its soul, then Osaka is its personality. Together they gave us a journey that was equal parts adventure, culture, and pure joy. Japan is where my soul healed, my wallet smiled, my feet died, and my stomach lived its best life. See you soon, Japan.
Sweet. It kind of tastes nutty.
Okay.
I would have this
Oh,
again.
you lost me there. You just said it tastes nutty.
This was a mistake, wasn't it?
Yep.
Daddy.